Hi Virgo, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your June 2021 love reading. Thank you to those of you who've liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. And for those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, it's what I call the bridging the gap spread. And the way it works is the cards on the left side represent your energy toward the connection with your main love interest. Cards on the right side represent their energy toward the connection. We'll take a look at the past energies, present energies, future energies. Once we get through all those, we'll actually pull some oracle cards with some additional insight. That's where the bridging the gap dynamic comes into play. As far as the decks being used, on the left side we have the Lover's Path Tarot, on the right side we have the Tarot Sexual Magic. And also keep in mind it's a general reading, so I'm going to be referring to the cards on the left as your energy and the cards on the right as the other person's. If you feel like it's the other way around in your situation, then definitely trust that. Alright, so with all that said, we'll get started. Past energy on your side, we have the Eight of Staves, which is Sagittarius energy, and the Two of Arrows, which is Libra energy. So, I mean, a pretty big contrast in energies here. Now, the Eight of Staves usually represents taking action towards something, and now it does always stand out to me with this deck in particular how we see all the birds along the wands, which to me represents communication, and usually through social media is what comes to mind when I see that. And with that Two of Arrows, it seems like quite the opposite, right? We see the woman sleeping there, it appears. With the Two Arrows, it looks like there's this angelic figure trying to get their attention, but, you know, it seems like they're not really aware of their presence. So, such a contrast in energy. So it could be saying a few different things. One could just be saying that you guys might have been very communicative with this person in the past, but underneath it all, you might have been undecided as to, whether or not you could actually see yourself with this person. For others of you, it could just be saying that you might have been being guided toward communicating with this person, but for whatever reason you were ignoring those signs. See if anything else comes to mind with this. And for others of you, it could just be saying, given that this is Libra energy, which for you guys is your second house, maybe you just had a lot of your focus and energy toward your finances at the time. Alright, past energy on their side, we have the Four of Chalices. So this is actually Cancer energy here. And usually it's an energy of, in the traditional tarot, for example, there's the guy sitting there with his arms crossed with 3 cups in front of him. He doesn't seem happy with those. And there's another one on its way. So it's like that energy of not being happy with what's being offered, but at the same time not necessarily doing anything to change the situation. So that kind of could have been what was going on there. Like if all of a sudden, if you just stopped communicating, right, with that Two of Arrows energy, they might have been unhappy with that, but at the same time weren't necessarily doing anything on their end to change the situation. But with this deck in particular, it always stands out to me like these two people always look shady. So to me, it could even just be saying that there could have been some outside interference within the connection too. So, one of those things, like let's say if they went to a friend for advice, so like, oh, I don't know, Virgo all of a sudden stopped communicating, right? Then all of a sudden they might just try to, they might have had an ulterior motive, but they might have been like, oh yeah, you should totally leave it behind, whatever, things along those lines. But whenever I see this card in particular in this deck, that is something that does come to mind for me, is that there might be some kind of outside interference that was at play in the past. Alright, present energy on your side, we have Temptation, which is the equivalent of the Devil card, and the Prince of Arrows, which is actually Gemini energy, the equivalent of the Knight of Swords. So, again, we see like quite a contrast in the two energies. This time around, it looks like the people are being pulled away from the cards on this side, and then with the Knight of Arrows energy, on the other hand, is pointing right toward them. So, could just be saying for some of you, maybe there's a temptation that might pull you away from the connection. But again, with the Cupid energy here, I feel like this is saying that you're still being guided toward this person. So for whatever reason, I feel like there's energies at play that are guiding you toward this person, but you might be resistant to it. For others of you, you could just be saying that, there is a lot of passion within the connection, and the temptation, for those of you, if you have actually separated from this person, could just be bringing you back around to them again, and you actually feel the urge to communicate to them. But yeah, I'm really getting like outside interference vibe between the past here and now seeing the present on your side. Especially, like I said, given that they're moving away from the cards on this side. But that's what I see there. And of course, speaking of interference in general, given that this is Gemini energy, it could just be saying that with the Mercury retrograde we'll be dealing with in June, could just be causing crossed wires across the board for you guys. So definitely be on the lookout for that. All right, present energy on their side, we have the Tower, and we have Seven of Pentacles. So this is Taurus energy here. Obviously the Tower in this deck in particular looks pretty intense. So I do have to say, if this involves some kind of a third party dynamic, given that we see that with the Temptation card, you might want to watch out for that, because it looks like if this person found out, that would definitely escalate into some drama. But more so than anything, what I'm picking up with this is just saying that it could be one of those things with the Seven of Pentacles. Usually this is an energy I think of where a person's invested a certain amount of time, energy, effort, resources into a situation, and then they're considering, if they want to continue forward. So again, like I said, if it looks like you guys have been shut down for whatever reason, and this person feels like they've been putting in effort, I feel like it's saying that they might just be considering whether or not they just want to cut ties altogether. So it's interesting, the timing there, as far as I don't know if that's going to happen before you actually start to communicate or after. I don't know, it's kind of crazy looking, but we'll see. Future energy on your side, we have the Three of Coins. So this is actually Capricorn energy here too. Usually the Three of Coins energy represents building something long-standing, long-lasting, rather, something that you're pleased with as well. I always say, to me, it's like a mixture of Saturn energy, which lends that long-term stability, but also the Venusian element mixing in with that to make it something, beautiful, something you're happy with. And what always stands out to me with the artwork in this deck is that we see just the one person. And if we look at her facial expression, excuse me, she doesn't look all that happy. So it could just be, this really does look like it could be as simple as just retrograde crossed wires. I don't necessarily know if it's going to be like, a long-term pattern you guys have been going through. But in the future, it looks like you're going to be possibly the one who does see the potential and wants to build something long-term, but feeling like the other person isn't actually putting in that energy toward you. So that's what I'm seeing there. And the future energy on their side, we have the Sun, and we have the Six of Pentacles. So, I mean, really positive change in the energy here, obviously, compared to the present with the Tower. But to see the Sun, which is usually a light, playful energy, just vibrant, and then the Six of Pentacles, Taurus energy, which usually represents restoring balance. Yeah, it could just be as simple as that. This might have been a minor blip that you guys go through. Some of you could get pretty dramatic. We did mention the possibility, like I said, if there's a third party dynamic, you guys might want to try to avoid that. I mean, that's pretty much good advice all the time, but just given those two cards in particular, doesn't look like it'd go over too well at all this month. But yeah, seeing the Sun and the Six of Pentacles and the Three of Coins on your side, it looks like it's saying, you're going to want to put in the effort, it appears, in the future. And then same thing on their end as well. They might even be more optimistic toward it than you. Maybe that's what that's saying there. As far as, like I said, it always stands out to me how she just seems like, a bit disappointed to be out there on her own. But, looks like this person actually has quite a bit of enthusiasm with the Sun mixing in with that Six of Pentacles energy. So definitely an interesting spread, I'm not going to lie. Bottom of the deck, on your side, we have the Two of Cups. So this is actually Cancer energy here, represents the first 10 degrees of Cancer. So if we just want to look at this as a timeline thing, could just be saying, yeah, it might be a bit of a bumpy ride early in June. We mentioned the Mercury retrograde, of course, eclipse season will be going on as well. But this representing the first 10 degrees of Cancer, that's pretty much the end of June. So it could just be saying by then you guys might be able to rectify the situation. This Two of Cups in this deck always stands out to me, right? As opposed to others that always look so bright and sunny. Here we see like the lightning bolt in the background. Definitely looks like there's a major storm that was going through. One of the cups is knocked over. So it could just be saying that you guys might have a bit of a bumpy ride, but toward the end of June, you actually will be able to establish that love and work toward the connection together. All right, and bottom of the deck on their side, we have the Eight of Swords. So usually this is an energy of not being able to move forward, not knowing which way to go, right? So again, this has a lot of crossed wire vibes all around it, basically. Now, I do have to say, what stands out to me with this deck too is that figure in the background reminds me of the devil energy from this particular deck. So I could be saying that there could definitely be outside interference that's trying to keep you guys apart, but the good thing is it does look like it's not really going to work in the long run. Beneath that, they actually have the star card too, which is definitely a pretty positive energy. So yeah, just be on the lookout for outside interference for sure. But we'll see what the oracle cards add to the mix. First, we'll see if we get anything from Aqua Moonlight deck here. And I actually did pre-shuffle this deck, but here I'm just going to be looking for jumpers. First, we'll be looking for unspoken messages from you to them, and then from them to you. And if I shuffle for a while without anything coming up, I'll move on to the next oracle deck. But occasionally we get additional messages here. So we'll see if we get anything. Almost have one there. Actually, yep, that doesn't want to go back in. So, and next we'll see if we get any from them to you. Oh, got one. All right, so let's see what we got. On your side, we have gesture. I'm going to come sweep you away. Interesting, because just reading that made me think of the artwork here with temptation. But again, it always stands out to me that it looks like they're moving away from the cards on this side. So for some of you, it could be as simple as that. I did mention with the Prince of Arrows, if those two energies are working together, this could be you actually, having that temptation to finally come back around and try to get the situation back off the ground with this person. But that's what I see there. And then on their side, we have listen. It says, I'm telling you the truth. You can trust my words. So interesting message there too. I mean, if anything, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of communication going on, quite frankly. It looks like you could definitely benefit from some communication, if nothing else. But hopefully that resonates with you too. And lastly, we'll pull a card from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. And same situation here as far as I pre-shuffled this deck as well, but here I'm just looking for one card with general advice, and we'll wrap up. All right, nothing's coming up, so I'll just put the whole deck down and we'll pull a card. So give me a few seconds to tune in and we'll pull one. All right. We have TikTok. There's the artwork, and the number is 30. So let's see what it says. Okay, it says timelessness, divine timing, immeasurable time. The Oracle's message. When humans created time, everything changed and contracted. People have come to look at life in a linear way, imagining that the past is behind them and the future ahead of them. But what if that isn't true at all? What if everything, creativity, beauty, chaos, and order, are happening now in a glorious timelessness? You have all the time in the world to co-create the life you desire, so release your agenda. Let go of your need to shape each moment to your expectations, knowing that what is yours will never be withheld from you. Miracles are here right now and always show up when you need them, right on time. So, pretty positive message there. I didn't necessarily get a vibe of control on your end, maybe possibly overthinking. That could have been what the Two of Swords was in the past, but not really much else other than that. And maybe some, like I said, maybe a lack of confidence with the Three of Coins in the future that, you know, you might feel like you're the only one who wants to build. But like I said, it looks like that would definitely be reciprocated. Uh, the relationship message says love, the fulfillment of desire, and even the body's reproductive cycles have their own timetable. Some things are preordained and cannot be coerced. Everything has its season, its divine and appropriate timing, especially when it comes to matters of the heart. Remember that you always have enough time for love, to find it, to nurture it, to give and receive it. Its clock is eternal and ticks according to the beating of your heart, in perfect rhythm. Isn't that wonderful to know? Love is always right on time. So definitely a pretty positive message there. And I feel like in a way this could be like crisis aversion, because I was mentioning how it looks like there's some kind of outside interference vibe that I'm seeing here. And I was mentioning with that tower energy with the Seven of Pentacles, it's hard to tell like what the timeline was there, and then the temptation card. So it looks like it's saying that, you know, there could be some forces outside that actually save a disaster from taking place within this connection, and you guys are actually able to build in the future. So definitely an interesting reading. Hopefully to resonate with you guys. We'll wrap up there, and I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.